Welcome. As you can see, that's a long shot of our studios, how we are now ready for the viewpoint. Good morning. My name is Victor Olo. It is the Wednesday, and if it's Wednesday, you know it's about the viewpoint. And today is around, it's 7:20 actually. We are going to have that discussion. FKE gave their report yesterday, and finding as far as matters education and employment in the country is concerned. Regina has talked about it, and there's a package to that. We are going to be playing that for you. What is the mismatch between what an employer wants and what an employee has? That is the biggest question. There is that report yesterday that most of the employers are either looking for people who are undergraduate or diploma holders. So where does that leave master's holders, people who are actually undertaking their master's classes right now, or even PhD holders? So where does that leave the entire education system? I have got three gentlemen who are able to answer that question later on. I have got Naftali Nyamongo, who is also here with me. He's a political analyst and a governance expert. I have got Mwathi Ireri. There you have him. Mwathi Ireri is also governance and political analyst, quite knowledgeable. He's also a lecturer. Karibu sana. And Wilson Sosion, we all know him. He's not a stranger in Jerusalem. We know where he stands. There you have him. Walimu, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. We are going to have a good discussion. All of us are products of education, and at some point we went to class. I believe some of us are still students in one way or another. Yeah. Okay, stick around for that. We have a good discussion. Okay, what about now? Let me take you through the front notes. Yeah, go ahead. Front page of the People Daily. Homeowners lose in Kirima land row.
Yeah, actually this was this is something that has taken quite some time in court.
Yes.
Kirima's family and some people who had invaded the land had been sold to them fraudulently. And at least at the end of the day, the court made its ruling.
Yes.
So it's now upon the family and the owners to just forget about whoever sold the land to them, because it has been clear that whoever sold the land to them was not the original owner. The ministry, the court has already ruled that the land belongs to Kirima. So it's a wake-up call to all of us when we are doing or when we are purchasing land in Kenya. We should maybe take the due. We should follow the due process and know maybe whether we are doing the right thing or not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lesson to all Kenyans that we should be careful.
And also now says that according to the talks that they will call for mass action if negotiations are ignored. A quick check on that before we take a break.
Yeah, those talks, the talks have been there for some time, and it's the hope of every Kenyan that we meet, or rather we reach a good amicable solution to all those issues which were being discussed there.
Yes.
But remember, this is politics. We must, each and every side must look at what they had really agitated for. Remember, the opposition was looking at the cost of living.
Yes.
This was what they were really pushing. So they should be able to ensure that it is well looked at. Remember, there is also this other issue of the parties, interference of the party, the independence of the parties. The opposition is saying that unless this is met, we cannot sign this. So at the end of the day, the government is also saying about the cost of living, leave it to us. Because we are in government. We are the ones who are supposed to set the rules and regulations and see how we will under the cost of living. So this push and pull, I don't see it as an analyst. I don't see it ending soon.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a break, and we come back. I will also circle back with Naftali and Sosion to give me their insight as far as headlines is concerned. Stay with us. and welcome back. So, Naftali, take a quick look at what you have. You can also chime on this headline of the People Daily. Homeowners lose in Krima land row. Probably the issue, the cost of landowners in Kenya, it might not end anytime soon. Who will save Kenyans? Someone once said that in whose hands are we safe? Go ahead.
Good morning and hello viewers. Yeah, Victor, the people of Kenya have the right to protection of property. It is a right in the Bill of Rights. Article 40 envisages protection of this property. That is subject to Article 65. Every citizen has the right, either individually or in association with others, to own property, number one, of any description, number two, anywhere in Kenya. So the Krimas have that right to own that property, that land. So whether there is a row or not, there are institutions which we have put in place as the people of Kenya to handle these matters. And this institution, the first institution is the judiciary. So a person ought to go to court if there is an issue in a Krima at the High Court and institute court proceedings. And there in the High Court, there is today what we call ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution.
Right.
So the case is presented to the mediation deputy registrar, then it undergoes a screening. Then this case, I'm telling you, because I've been in the court annex mediation, this Krima land row will only be solved through alternative dispute resolution, where people, the parties, the disputants will be told, come here and sit down. Let us find a solution from you people, so that we can have a win-win.
This is what CS Ali Sohome said, that the government will not be part of any intervention after court declines to suspend eviction order. CS Sosion, good morning.
Good morning.
A quick look at this one. 1,000 acres of land. He says that a mediation is the only way to go.
This is a graphic indicator of the historical land question and land grabbing in Kenya. The question, we ask ourselves a number of questions. Who sold this land? Who possessed it? Because this must have been done in government offices. And this brings me to the issue of state capture, where officers are captured and you use government officers to possess property of others, contrary to the provisions of the Constitution and the law, and then you sell it to unsuspecting, innocent Kenyans. And I know there's a law in the penal code which criminalizes you when you handle stolen property. And now fast forward to this case, a judgment has been rendered. And this matter has been in court for 10 years. And as a country of the rule of law, we must respect the court rulings. If we were to respect all court rulings, we would be a very organized country of the rule of law. And Kenyans would be very cautious when buying property. You must do a proper search and know that this is clean property that you are buying. And this is not the first time we are seeing even demolition of structures in illegally acquired land. So land acquisition illegally has been an order of the day in this country. And, and I think the CS is right when she says, let the affected people deal with the Kirima family. Maybe they can be magnanimous and settle those things in a certain way, or deal with the courts. Because government will not interfere, I think. And the government of Kenya Kwanza is about the rule of law. Let's follow the law as it is. And I think moving forward, going into the future and drawing from these lessons and many others, and others that will come, we will know that the rule of law is sacrosanct.
Very well. And now that you're still on the floor, you are still in order, let me take you. You can also chime on the front page of the Standard here. The Standard says that Police in crisis talks over damning report. That was a report given by the task force chaired by retired Justice David Maraga's task force, which made stinging recommendations against the National Police Commission, and a meeting has been set for next week, after one aborted yesterday, to discuss a way forward and start the implementation process, including calls for commissioners to head home. This is what we have on the front page of the Standard newspaper. And just before that, standing ovation for Ruto in EU. He was giving his speech yesterday in France. He addressed the European Union Parliament in Strasbourg, that in France yesterday, where he pitched for climate change initiatives and a trade balance with Africa. Perhaps you can take a quick look on this one, Susan, before we continue. Go ahead.
Yes, Chapter 15 commissions. If we were to conduct a thorough forensic audit on constitutional commissions,
yes,
many commissioners will go home the Cherera way, and I think there are now more Chereras in the police service commissions doing a disservice to our uniformed officers. So that report and those recommendations are not in vain. They should be implemented, and if heads must roll, let them roll.
Yes.
In this administration, those who don't want to comply should ship out, and those who want to serve should serve. And with respect to the president's trip to Germany and France, and
yes,
particularly addressed to the European Union, we all followed, and I think for the first time in Africa, we have a very hardworking and knowledgeable president, and who can convince other entities. And I think at the international stage, President Ruto has scored a distinction on that, and is carrying the collective grievance and position of the entire continent of Africa.
Right.
If you look at the text of the speech to the EU, it was mainly collective interest of the continent of Africa, and how we should strengthen cooperation and partnership across the world to advance the interest of Africa, and particularly those of climate change and so many others. And a standing ovation from Parliament of EU. And I don't know when we last had any of our president addressing the Parliament of EU. This is a very serious forum that brings together parliamentarians of the entire critical countries of Europe. And I think this is a major score by the president. And by any standard, this is a hard-working Kenyan. And if all government workers can work hard and emulate the president, and we stop these street threats and nonsense of negative politics and negative energy. If we all did that, then Kenya will be a better place. And believe me, Victor, Nairobi has been ranked as the most favorable destination to visit. And favorable destination to visit means in business and in many things. And I think the president has contributed a lot to that. And so Kenya, we have an opportunity both in the global scene and at the regional level via a hardworking and competent president.
Nyamongo, quickly, on the front page of the Standard, police in crisis talks over damning report. Of course, that story is here. You can take that. You see that it says that, let me just give you what the story says. The report which says that, there you go, that part of the recommendation is in the final report, the task force said that NPAC has failed to deliver in the human resource docket as dictated by the Constitution, and that their functions had been usurped by the police commanders. And now part of the recommendation is that some of them will have to go home. Nyamongo, very quickly.
Yeah, I think the report by Maraga in regard to the police is geared toward fostering national security, because the National Police Service is one of those national security organs responsible for our national security. Remember, national security is the protection against internal and external threats to Kenya's territorial integrity and sovereignty. It's the people, their rights, freedoms, property, peace, stability, prosperity, and other national interests. So what Maraga has done through the recommendation of the report is purposely to enhance our police force,
Yes.
to enhance our police system, to enhance our police officers, to have that social force which binds them for the courses of action demanded by that force.
Okay.
In regard to the standing ovation of the president at the European Union, I will also echo the sentiments of Honorable Sushion, that indeed we have a president with a quality which outshines the usual for the first time. In fact, he is ranking first after Mwai Kibaki. President Ruto
He's ranking?
first, because as things are,
Okay.
in regard, remember, Victor, when we have distribution of functions between the national government and the county governments, function number one of the national government is foreign affairs, foreign policy, and international trade. There is a reason why the framers of the Constitution of Kenya ranked that foreign affairs, foreign policy, and international trade to be function one of the national government. And that is why the president, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, is now spearheading. He has a function under Article 132 to fulfill the international obligations of the Republic. And that is why he has been recognized internationally. This is what we call humanitarian diplomacy. Humanitarian diplomacy is persuading decision makers and opinion shapers to act at all times in the best interest of the vulnerable through the fundamental humanitarian principles.
Yes.
And remember,
Perhaps Director can just have this one, what we are talking about on the front page. Director, just beam this kindly. There you have it. Nyamongo, as you continue with that.
yeah. So the president, I'm echoing the words of Honorable Sushion, that indeed this president, let us give him time. There is a vision he has for this country. He is bright and brisk. He is knowledgeable. He knows where to touch.
Yeah.
You cannot deal with the government, the state, without having that policy, international policy, through the United Nations. Remember, the Millennium Goals ended in 2015. And in 2015 now, we have, after 2015, we have the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations organizations. And one of them, objective number 13, is climate action. 14 is life below water. 15 is life on land. So what the president is doing actually is going to seek that humanitarian assistance, humanitarian action, and expertise and skills from the international community.
Yes.
Because we are part of the international community. Remember, as humanitarian diplomats, we act under the international humanitarian
Why do you
law.
think the issue of balance of trade with Africa and other nations is quite important? As far as climate change is important, remember we just had COP28 is coming in a few days or a week to come, and he's also still rooting for this balance of trade. We have Mudavadi is here, Honorable Mudavadi, Kimani Ichung'wah, can see Murkomen at the background, I can see Aaron Cheruiyot and a couple of other dignitaries who accompany him.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The reason why he's interested in balancing that trade is because of OCHA. Do you know OCHA?
Go ahead.
OCHA is the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, and it is tweeted here at Gilgil. The president knows through intelligence that people who are awarded money or that capital for commerce internationally are people from Europe. Africans do not have the share. Why? Africans do not have what? That insight about what we have in the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs at Gilgil. It is a United Nations office. We are members of the United Nations because the Constitution of Kenya under Article 2, Sub-Article 5, the general rules of international law shall form part of the law of Kenya. So the president has the right and the power to ask for those privileges, to ask for those rights, because we are part of the international community.
Okay, Ireri, I think now that they've set the pace, you can also talk on this one. As we come on the front page of also the front page of the Standard newspaper, you can just you can start with that. Go ahead.
That's true. This is a clear indication that any change will always have some resistance. Will always come with people thinking that things are not, because they have been used to being in the comfort zone or rather working in their normal way. So with we know Maraga is we take him with a lot lot of respect. We know he has been a Chief Justice of this country.
Right.
And we know the kind of report he has come up with may not be very suitable to those.
In fact, part of the report says that the task force has been left with no option but to recommend government considers a negotiated exit for the current commissioners of NPSC.
Yeah, true. So because of this, you remember you are touching people's lives, people's working way of working. So at the end of the day, you expect that, and given that. This thing, first of all, why was Maraga given this task? It is because there was something wrong. There was something that needed some action. Something that was not good in the police force. It's not a secret. We know when we come to ranking of the corruption, police have always been at the top among other government agencies. So something had to be done, and whatever was to be done may not be very suitable for to those sitting in those offices.
Yes.
So, and that's why you see some of those recommendations which are not very good. So at least they have to go and see what to do. But at the end of the day, we thank the president for coming up with this task force. We thank Maraga for coming with such a good report, and we are hopeful. Kenyans are hopeful.
But generally, to all of you, what do you think, if this report is fully implemented, what kind of change, either positive or negative, will you have in the police force? I mean, police service. There's been that trend to change the entire system to make it community friendly and people friendly.
The good thing with us Kenyans is that when a change comes for the better, we are really into it. Go back straight to when we used to go in matatus packed like, and when Michuki came up with the people adapted. So this one,
I think I said that we are not, people are afraid to change. Even Israelites were not ready to accept that move. You know, they rejected at some point.
So this will be rejected by the police force, but the general public and the other stakeholders, other than the police. Remember, there are so many other stakeholders.
Right.
These other stakeholders will be very much willing to see the end result of this. And I'm sure we will be, in near future, we may see a very changed police force, which will be for the better of the common mwananchi.
Yes.
Let me also go down to the EU, where the president was. This is very encouraging, and let me not dwell on what our my colleagues have dealt with. Let us look. Let me dwell on what we expect after this, because you see, we had most of these countries which are more developed than us, and we are expecting so much from them. We expect the tourists, we expect to trade with more nations now, more than even our usual Britain, France, and the rest. So the good thing about this is the confidence that this parliament will have on Kenya. So we in the near future we are expecting more countries trading with us. We are expecting more tourists from these countries who had their preferred destinations elsewhere, maybe coming to have a taste of Kenya. We are expecting most of these countries to bring to have more resources. Some of them to come and trade, come and set up their businesses here in Kenya. So this is a very good move, and through this we are expecting, we are widening the gap of where Kenya can trade with. We are enlarging nets on how Kenya can trade well.
All right, so thank you so much. That's also captured on the front page of the Daily Nation. Here you can see it. You can take a look at the front page of the Daily Nation. Ruto addresses EU Parliament. He's been away. President William Ruto addressed the European Union Parliament yesterday in Strasbourg, that is in France. He urged the EU to support Kenya's plans to deploy police officers to Haiti, and also rallied Europe to support Africa's quest to unlock the economic potential, something that we've talked about. But gentlemen, the biggest point here, again, just before we go to the front page, Anne Njeri to face MPs today over the 17 billion shillings fuel saga. That is what we have on the front page. And Koinange here seeks to divorce wife in 3 billion shillings estate row. Okay. The big the splash of the front page is courses, skills that will land you a job fast. That is what we're having today. Courses, skills that will land you a job fast. According to the report, employers in Kenya are in dire need of workers in the field of information technology, finance, business management, engineering, transportation, logistics and law. Social skills, including effective communication and critical thinking, are also key factors during recruitment, according to a new skills gap study. This is what you have on the front page of the Daily Nation. All of us are products of education, but once you have this kind of report by FKE, which was done yesterday, and Regina gave us a very good package as far as that concerned, raises a lot of concern. Director, probably if you have that story, you can run it before we take a look at what the story has.
The Bureau of Statistics indicates that Kenya's unemployment rate shrunk to 4.9% in the quarter running between October to December 2022, a 0.7 percentage point decline from 5.6% in the corresponding quarter in 2021.
So people need to continue coming back into education, and as technology continues to evolve, these skill gaps will continue to have new skills will be required all the time.
We acknowledge that enterprises and employers need more than insights. They need practical solutions.
In its latest report, dubbed a Skill Needs Survey Report, the Federation of Kenya Employers indicates that ICT, finance, engineering, transport and logistics, as well as legal sectors, majorly require an undergraduate degree at 43.8%, and technical and vocational education training, TVET, at 34.9%. Workers with only secondary education are mostly in demand in public safety, corrections and security career fields at 4.8%, as well as in the arts and recreational services at 3.1%.
If you look at this data, what it tells us is that Kenya employers, the employers in Kenya, very few of them need people who have PhDs.
However, 42% of employers have a challenge in filling vacancies due to lack of skilled labor, despite those holding doctoral degrees not being favorable choices for recruitment.
What does that tell us? If it is from policy in government, it tells you that don't put a lot of investments and insistence on PhDs, but we have majority of them, actually even those ones who need people who have more just secondary education are higher than people who need those ones who have PhDs.
This means it is easier for those holding a bachelor's degree and technical and vocational education certificate holders to find job placement than those with higher academic qualifications. The report further indicates that human resource recruiters are now keen on recruiting those with computer competences, soft skills, and foreign language qualifications.
If you are a job seeker, you must be able to communicate. You might have the skills. If you are not able to communicate at the workplace, you don't work in a vacuum, you work with others.
Software engineering remains the most sought skill set in the country, with over 30% of employers seeking individuals with the said skill amid digital integration across all sectors. However, the report remains silent on whether the current earnings by those employed are commensurate to the required skill set.
Mheshimiwa Sosion, you've heard the story, courses, skills that will land you a job first. Go ahead.
I think this, this is not new. This has been identified by the education sector, and that is why when you look at the proposal of CBC, particularly in senior secondary,
yes,
the pathway towards 3 routes, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that is STEM, will absorb over 60% of candidates at all times. Then the other 2 pathways of humanities and sports will take the rest. Now, this analysis has given us the obvious results that the market will still desire STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the different areas. But the main qualifications are the bachelor's and at the diploma level. And the other critical thing is communication. And when you look at what the president is talking about, exporting our labor to the diaspora, then we'll need a workforce that is gifted linguistically, both in terms of English, proficiency in English, and also in foreign languages. Because if you're exporting workers to Germany, they must speak German. And I would say from the education perspective where I come, Kenyans are the most sought after in the diaspora for work because of proficiency in English. And though the indicators here indicates that it's a gap that is still required, there's a lot that needs to be done. So that calls for the curriculum developers to strengthen the teaching of languages and also to strengthen the teaching of STEM education. Remember, I've been at the forefront arguing very seriously about the curriculum which was being brought, the CBC, as it was and as it was rolled out, was going to be deficient of the basic knowledge that that has been outlined as a gaps in this. But I'm happy that with the correction through the Presidential Working Party in Education and Reforms, and this has been exemplified by exit exams in grade 9, summative at 60%, and at grade 12, summative at 70%, is going to strengthen and ground the basic, the very fundamental aspects of knowledge other than skills. Kenya Kwanza administration, through the PWPR, is putting a lot of emphasis in TVET. And if you look at the latest master plan, is that through the CDF, we shall have ICT hubs in every ward. And as you can see, ICT skill and communication is the most sought after. And I think from government policies and the agenda of Kenya Kwanza, within a short time, we shall be able to align our education system to meet the market needs. And then finally, we've seen what is popular is the diploma and undergraduate and not postgraduate.
That is
the most critical entry to the market.
Masters holders and even
PhD the most critical entry skills that are required in the market.
Thank you.
And by many employers at the cost-effective manner is diploma skills and bachelor skills.
Thank you.
That has not changed over time.
Let's take a break. We still have to talk about this once we come back because it's affecting all of us. And I still have Naftali and Ireri so that we talk about this once we come back. The question is, employers, here are the skills that you need to get a job. Much more after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are talking about the issue of education here, where's the mismatch between an employer and an employee. That is as per the report which was released yesterday by FKE, saying that there are some courses and skills that will land you a job. Some will, but not that fast. Here are some of the conditions that, according to FKE, some of the courses that will land you a job pretty fast. I was a bit worried when I didn't see journalism here, but at least my heart, I was a bit easy when I saw effective communication. But still, there's is no journalism and mass communication here.
It is communication.
It's
FKE,
communication. Journalism is communication.
What you are doing is communication.
You are becoming
Now, I want to see journalism and media studies. Naftali, go ahead. This probably not land so well with many people.
Yeah.
Right.
The point there is that, the 844 system was a competent system. But you see, in Kenya, it's another thing. Because when you finish your Form 4, then you qualify for university for a bachelor's.
Yes.
Then the government forces you to pursue a course which you don't like. That is where now the problem is.
Yes.
And I'm the victim. And I'm one of the victims.
What happened?
Yeah, I've done accounts. I've done accounts from the University of Nairobi. But my area, my passion, my career, that vision which I had was not in accounts.
What was it?
And many people were forced through the 844 system to pursue courses in the university or in the higher education because of that government sponsoring something, and now they are working where they are not favorable from the bottom of their hearts. But the 844 system is a competent system globally. But in Kenya, it failed the people of Kenya. The reason why I'm saying like that, for you to be a certified professional mediator, I mean accountant, you don't need only that degree, degree in accounts. You need that short course called certified professional accountancy. From either CASNEP or elsewhere, for you to qualify into the market level. So that report has a gap. It needed to focus on these short courses. I am today a certified professional mediator, and I work at the court annex mediation. But what put me there is not a degree only. I went and did another continuous professional development course in the name of professional mediation from the African Nazarene. So for you to be fiscally fit, for you to have that quality of being adequately and well qualified, intellectually and fiscally, in the job market, then you need these short courses called certified. Even Honorable Soshun, for him to be a teacher, he went for some certification from TSC to have that number, practicing number. After you finish law from any law school, you go again to a certified diploma at the Kenya School of Law. So there is a gap in the new report, and this is in regard to the short courses.
Right.
They are very important.
You're lucky that the legal fraternity, that is the law that you're part of, is also forming part of the statistics. And finally, I'm happy that after law, journalism and mass communication, public relations. Finally, I'm a happy man. So
you found yourself now. You found your
I'm a happy man. Okay. So IT, finance, business management, engineering, transportation, distribution, and logistics, and law most marketable. So where does this leave other courses? Because we have got plenty of courses. Ready? This probably it's casting a lot of doubt to students who are taking other courses currently as we speak.
Thank you, Victor. Number one, let me start by saying that the report, nobody will employ you for the sake of employing. Somebody will employ you, or everybody will employ you just because there's a problem that he wants you to solve.
Yes.
There's a solution that you have the capacity to have a certain solution to a certain problem somewhere. So, and then we look at where is the world going. We are heading towards IT. So that that's why the IT tops or leads the pack. Just because today, if you are not maybe a computer literate, you are similar to that person who didn't know how to read and write in the 70s and 80s. So when we are choosing our courses to the students, we should be able to look at where will the world be maybe 5, 10 years, 20 years from now. And that is why those people who saw that in the early 90s and late 80s and went towards the IT area, that's why they are reaping that today. I mean, everybody will give you a job to come and offer a solution. the problems we are having today are, most of them are in the IT field, cybercrime. We need software developed for us. So when we look at where the world is going, we will be able to see what is happening. Look at finance. We are crying today that the cost of living is escalating. We are crying today that we need something done in our today's in the economy. We will come and offer those solutions. We are having the finance guys. That's because there is a problem. Then we need people to solve that problem. That's why now, when we are choosing our careers, or to the graduates, when they are choosing what to do in the universities, they should look at what problems will be there 10 years from now, 5 years from now, then get into that. Right. That's why even the degrees, and by that you don't mean there's no degree which is useless. There's no course that is useless. But we should be able to look at where will the problem be in the days to come. Today there was a problem. This Mheshimiwa will tell you there was a time when we had problems of teachers. Yes. There was a time when I went to high school in the 844 system, when it was starting, in my school back in Embu, we had 3 Ugandans who are teaching, in my school. But today we have plenty of teachers. That means those days there was a problem of teachers. There was a shortage of teachers. But now we have solved that. It doesn't mean if you take a degree in education, you are doing wrong. You should take it, but then also, even if you are doing education, then what area should you be? Let me also talk of the masters and the PhD. Remember, there is always an entry level in every job. Those people, the diplomas, the degrees, that is where the entry levels are in each and every organization. But then the degrees and the masters and PhDs are also important, because as these people with the degree, with the master, with the bachelors and the diplomas are working, they need some people above them to give them the policies, the managerial positions. But then if you have somebody or an organization looking for somebody with a PhD or a master's, it must be accompanied by experience.
As per the report says that actually, you said that a healthy 50% of employers said that they seek employees with tech-oriented courses in various career fields. This is followed by finance and management, 48%, legal profession at 36%. Naftali, you are a happy man. I will still continue to say that. But where's the mismatch, Sosion? Where's the mismatch between employment, the skills, and that brings the aspect of theory and practicality in our education system?
Yes, and also the curriculum design.
Yes.
Which, of course, it must be reviewed every 5 years in accordance with UNESCO to ensure that the education system being offered by any nation is relevant to the market. You don't just offer education for the sake of offering. You must ensure that courses being offered by universities is what is required in the market, and has been stated by my fellow panelists here, also allow students to take courses of their own choices. That is why career preparation is very key in our school system. 844 was tailored to prepare for an industrialized economy, and we are still focusing on that industrialized economy, and that is why we talk of STEM, but very fast forward, coming to this, looking at this and matching with education and matching with the political agenda of the day. We are talking of making Kenya as a manufacturing, value addition, and even an agricultural aggregation economy. An economy where we strengthen production, and these are employers, and the employers we are talking about here are manufacturers. This is the next big thing in this country. We are talking about Africa not exporting their raw materials, raw, but processing them locally. And that processing locally means massive investment in manufacturing. It means a lot of great demand for STEM education. This is what the Asian countries did. What did Singapore do? What did Malaysia do? What did South Korea do? They focused on industrialization and tailored the education system to concentrate mainly on STEM. And if you look at the policy of Kenya Kwanza in education, number one, to ensure that students are guided towards their specific careers. Even the grading in exams is important.
Yeah.
You'll grade the student on the best subjects rather than selecting and dictating the way it was. That is a policy that has been brought in, and that will create almost a cluster towards a specific career, because a career goes with competencies in performance at the ordinary level exam. Now, then deliberate restructuring of our education system to give us these particular skills in a very effective way. And like we have seen, communication, IT are very critical areas that are required. And that is why, if you look at the model of funding, even the new university funding model, it emphasizes in funding TVET very strongly. It also focuses in declaring, the universities must declare the cost of every course.
Yeah.
And all those courses must be relevant to the market.
That's
now,
exactly what you're
universities
saying,
will have to offer that.
The study conducted by FKE says that there is a high demand for job seekers with a bachelor's degree and technical and vocational education qualifications in most of the career.
Yes, and that is why, if you look at the agenda of the president, signing agreements, bilateral agreements internationally, there is a lot to do with IT, investment in IT, and focus even of creation of ICT hubs at the world level, where youth with ICT skills can be employable at that level and work within the space of employment at the ICT level. But very finally, let us not forget that these are not things we are creating today. They have been created. We are working under a blueprint of Kenya Vision 2030. And Kenya Vision 2030 is very clear in Kenya producing the most competitive globally human resource. Competitively. Globally. So we are not only preparing for the Kenyan market, but we are also preparing for the global market. And you have seen we have a State Department of Diaspora Affairs. We shall be exporting excess skilled labor because they are competitively required. Imagine if you look at Saudi Arabia. Why do you think Saudi Arabia are looking for house help from Kenya? It's because of our English, very good English, and they prefer, Kenyans are preferred in Middle East and several other parts because of competencies in English. So really, this is a pride that we have, and we should continue strengthening in our education system. Let me get this from what is required by local market and what is required by the global market.
Naftali, when you hear what CEO FKE Jacqueline Mugo said, that as a country we are lovers of academic papers. We are very good at acquiring degrees, but this does not translate to performance at work. Now this calls for skills. It's not even about what you have at the end of the day.
Yeah, skills. So the first skill, as you have heard, is communication skills. Communication and learning skills. In his own words, and you will kindly allow me to quote the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. English is a form of communication and not a method of intelligence. I unquote. So one who speaks English does not equate that he is intelligent. It is just a form of communication. Ability. But now, because the English is what you connect to the other world, that is what you need. You cannot just have expertise on your own. How do you deliver them? That is now why you need diplomacy. Diplomacy is defined as the management of information through communication. And you cannot alienate English language. That's why we have Soshoni here, Honorable Soshoni, eloquent and fluent. And my friend here, lecturer, eloquent and fluent. Why? They are articulating what they think is best for this country.
Very well.
The Honorable Dr. William Ruto is another fellow who is using communication skills to enhance the productivity of this nation. Remember, the mission of the United Nations Assembly, UNCA, in regard to the Sustainable Development Goals, a shared blueprint for people and the planet now and into the future.
Yes.
And one of these Sustainable Development Goals is quality education. In our Constitution, Article 53, Sub-Article 1, Paragraph C, every child is entitled to free and compulsory basic education. Now, when we talk of free, it means our education ought to act at will, not hampered, not under compulsion or restraint. Number two, it must cost nothing. That's why we say it is free. So if it costs something, it is not free.
Okay. I want to, as we come to a close, Ireri, look at this way. At the end of the day, we have CBC in place. The Presidential Working Party also gave the recommendations, and this is another survey. What do you really think is running through the minds of students who are pursuing courses, PhD students, master's students, as that is concerned? Because the entry level is more of TVET graduates or even middle-level colleges with diplomas and postgraduate and undergraduate. So where does that really leave the continuing students currently, and how will the government sort this out in the next years to come? I will come with 1 minute, Mr. Sosion, for you to finalize on that for us. Kindly, go ahead.
Thank you. This report may discourage those who are taking their masters and PhDs, but I would say that it shouldn't discourage anybody at all. Because when you, and I'm actually one of them because I'm a PhD student at JKUAT. PhD,
are you worried you're not going to get a job?
PhD is about inventing. Coming up with
new knowledge.
Don't give up.
I'm telling others, other PhD students. It's about coming up with new ideas, inventing new issues which have never not been invented before. So these things are the ones which come down and shape other working areas. So at the end of the day, we need them to. We need people to be up there.
All right.
They are very, 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 very important. So they should not feel discouraged.
However, my last question: is there hope? Is there hope? Even with
very
this
big
report?
hope. Very big hope. Very big hope. Because remember, some of these people doing their PhD, they are not doing their PhD to go and look for jobs at entry level. Maybe some of them are advanced,
Already employed.
and they have been maybe in the job market.
Yes.
So if KBC today wants somebody at the management level, and you have equal experience of 5 years or so. If you have a PhD, that's an added advantage. That's an added advantage. Yes. So at the end of the day, it is important also to go up.
Okay. We need to leave. But
very important. Nobody should
allow me
be
to leave. Mr. Sosion, just 30 seconds. Is there hope?
Those being employed at diploma and bachelors will have opportunity to advance their education to masters and PhD. This is not to say people with masters and PhD are disqualified from the job market upon graduation. That is not the case. Then number two, the overall thing that we need is realignment of our education system to produce graduates who are creative, innovative, and self-driven in any enterprise. Even as we think of industrializing our country and introducing manufacturing in a large scale, production in a large scale, value addition in a large scale, we will need skilled citizens to do that. And we can only get this through a reformed education system.
Thank you.
And those reforms are underway, and they're subject to constant review, constant consultation by the citizens, by the experts, and even by the potential employers. And talking about internship, one of the big program of internship and incubation of skills is allowing employers to develop incubation centers in the training institutions, so that you don't talk about the end product. The employers themselves participate in the process of creating this particular products. And I think Kenya and Kenya Kwanza administration, we are on the right track and on the right trajectory in linking the model of our education system, the market needs, and the future world of work. Future world of work.
Thank you. I had a reason why I had to give it to Sion to finalize. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you.
For Sion, who is a CAS, former NAT Secretary General, I have got Nyamongo, who is certified public mediator. Professional mediator. Thank you so much. And Mwathireri, who is also a governance expert. He's also a part-time lecturer. Asante sana. Education is the basement where all of us come from. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We're taking a break, but when we come back, Vivian is going to handle another topic that is affected many people and is affecting many people right now. Navigating redundancies, you know, even at this particular time of hard economic times. That's a discussion that you don't want to miss. Good morning. I'm Victor Lo. Bye-bye.